Hey folks, David here. Just as the title says, this video is about my Lionel 164 log loader. This was made from 1946 until 1950, the post-war version. There were earlier versions and later versions. I'm going to show you this in operation. I'm going to show you what it looked like when I first got it and what I had to fix. And I'm going to show you how it works. And we're going to talk a little bit about painting. I learned a little bit about how to spray paint, so we'll talk about that a little bit. I saw one of these at a hobby shop 3 or 4 years ago, and I thought it was so cool I had to have one. So you have a little controller here, turn a switch and that loads it, and then you have a button here to push to unload it. This is a post-war, and the difference is the pre-war ones did not have these little grooves in here, or whatever you want to call it. So this is definitely post-war. They do make a version in the 80s or 90s, and it's mostly plastic. So what I really like is, of course, the lights work on it. I thought that's pretty neat. With Lionel stuff, even trains and accessories, you should wire them all the same with the common, they call it a ground, but just have the common lead should be the same on all of them, and that is U, and then the A is like the positive. It's AC, but it's the main output. If you look on your transformer, there's always a U and an A or B or whatever, but the U is supposed to be the common, so you want to connect it like that. So underneath here, this is the motor that drives the loading part. And the motor here is pretty much the same as what you see in the locomotives. So you repair them the same, clean the brushes, make sure that it runs smoothly. And then it has this extra gear on the outside that you don't normally see on a locomotive, of course, that drives the loading part. There's a little bit of wear on this gear here and a little bit of wear on that. Possible that it was jammed up a little bit, but it seems to run okay. Actually, I'm surprised it runs a lot smoother or a lot quieter than I thought it would. So yeah, and here's all your wiring. Again, you know, you got to wire a common, this wire here and this one here. No, I'm sorry, the one that's down in there that you can't see right here is the ground or the common for the lights. And I just made that red because I had a piece of scrap red wire, so that's what I used. So that's how that works. And then these two wires run to the dump relay, and I'll show that to you in a little bit. So that's the wiring. It's not that big of a deal. It's easy to find the wiring diagrams. I made my own diagram, so it was easier for me to follow. And that's showing with the common ground, or you know, the negative, and you can still get all this documentation here. Yeah, that's the original Lionel diagram with the wiring, and that's showing the switch that I showed you. So that's what's underneath here. I didn't bother painting this. I'll show you that in a minute. So here's a drawing that shows how the controller works. It doesn't give you a whole lot of detail. There's basically a bunch of little contacts, and you turn the thing to load, and it connects two contacts, and then you press the button to unload, and closes two other contacts. I was going to make a controller for it myself. All you basically need here, and that's basically how it works, if you can see that. It's just, you know, switch for the load and a push button momentary switch for the dump. So you can easily make one with just a momentary push button switch and a toggle switch, single pull, single throw switch. That'll work, and you can wire that up. If you need help with that, let me know. So right in here, there's usually like a rubber grommet that goes in there, and that just kind of crumbled and fell apart when I took this apart. So I used a neoprene faucet washer and then a small flat washer on there, and that worked out just fine. Let me show you the dump mechanism here. So this was probably the most difficult part, because this cam right here is very flimsy, or it's not attached in there properly. I don't have a picture of what's supposed to be here. I think I saw a picture from the other side. It shows like a spring, so I have no idea how that's supposed to be hooked up. And I made this little clip right here from a paper clip so that works. But yeah, you can see the problem here, that this thing kind of flops around. So do the best you can with it. So that's how that works. And there's a cover, there's a relay underneath there that pulls down to activate this. Okay, I can't do that with that. It kind of works. And there's a cover on it, and it has these little tabs that flip over. If you can see right here how that tab kind of bends over, and they're on the other side also to hold the cover on. And the problem is, you take them off more than twice and they break off. So that's what happened. So I actually had to drill a small hole in it and make like a plastic washer, just something to put a screw through it to hold the cover on. Other than that, it's just a standard Lionel relay and a couple levers in there. So that's how that works. If you run into problems with one and you need some help with it, let me know, the wiring or the mechanical parts of it. I had to paint this. I painted the base and I painted the roof. The yellow I didn't paint because it looks pretty good. It's a little bit faded, but there's no scratch. There's not too many scratches in it. To paint this, I would have to take this all apart, and there's again a bunch of little tabs that hold this together. So I'm afraid if I take this apart, I might break something. So it looks okay as it is, and I'm okay with that. But to paint the base and the roof, I got paints here from Henning's Train Shop in Lansdale. They're working on getting more and more colors that are Lionel original. But yeah, it's 800 green, 517 bright red. So those are the colors that match that. They're, you know, original colors, and they're like 10 or 12 bucks a can or something like that. And what's that say? A half a pint. So that's a cup, 8 ounces. So I didn't use too much of it, and I'll show you that in a minute out in the garage about painting. I'll give you some painting tips. This is the original video of when I bought this back in November of 2021 at the Allentown Train Show for 40 bucks. And when I started cleaning it up, I was just using some light detergent, and the paint was just falling off of the base and off of the roof here. So that's why I had to paint it. But like I said, the nice thing about this is all the parts were there, so it worked out pretty good to restore this. There's a crack in the side of the base here, and I was going to glue that, and I thought, you know what, if I try and do that, I'm just going to make more of a mess out of it. So it doesn't take much away from it. I'm not really that worried about it, and I'll probably make it look worse if I try and fix it. So structurally it's fine, so I'm not going to worry about it. So the really exciting thing about today, almost as exciting as that, is I got a package today. Ordered a GoPro. And it just got here today, so I haven't even had a chance to look at the manual or anything. So next videos will be done with the GoPro. Woohoo! Alright, let's go out in the garage. Before painting, everything had to be sanded really good. And this is Bakelite, and it's a very smooth, shiny plastic. So you have to make sure that you sand it really good so that the paint sticks. And the toughest part was like this roof here, getting all the corners, the details, getting that cleaned up. You do have to spray it with primer before you paint it. So I'm by no means an expert at painting. As a matter of fact, this is the first project that I did. This is the painter, the sprayer that I got from Harbor Freight for about 20 bucks, give or take, I forget. It's got a 4-ounce thick canister here, so that worked. So when you're painting with this kind of stuff, you have to thin it out for it to work in a paint gun. So this is enamel, so you want to use naphtha to thin it, and you're going to use about 50% thinner with 50% paint. You can use a little bit less thinner. Honestly, I think I mixed it like 60% paint, 40% thinner. See what works for you. And I used about a half a bottle of this. I think that's a 1-ounce bottle or something that was from an energy drink. So that's how much paint I used to paint the base and the roof. You know, less than a bottle there. So it wasn't much. I mean, less than a bottle, and that's mixed with thinner, so less than a half a bottle of actual paint plus thinner. If you're new to painting and you're not sure what to do and you hook one of these up, fill it with water and practice with water, and it'll give you an idea of what you're supposed to see coming out of there. And you have an adjustment here for flow and an adjustment here for your pattern. In other words, I guess if you let it out, you're going to have more of a oval pattern, and if you screw it in, you're going to have more of a round pattern, and that controls the air that comes out of these little pins right here. It kind of squeezes your flow. So that's all I know about painting. I'll show you a quick clip of me painting it. I thought it would be easier to hang this up and paint it, so then I could paint both sides of it and let it dry. But this didn't work out. It moved around too much. So after this dried, then I set it down to put another coat on it. This worked out better, but I had to wait till it dried the next day and then flip it over and then put another coat on it. So it took 4 or 5 coats to get it covered really good. Here's a couple pictures of the base before I put it together. Thank you for watching.